before I explain how the coil pack works, I'm going to take it off this particular model. So again, you're going to use your T27 Torx wrench. I'm sorry, Torx, whatever you want to call it. On this particular model, there's a screw right here and there's a screw right here. So unscrew them, loosen them up. Put those to the side, make sure you don't lose them. So there's normally on these models on the smaller engine, there's only two wires that come off the coil pack. There's a positive and there's a negative. The negative, or the ground, is going to be the one that's connected normally to the metal section of the engine. This one has a little metal tab that actually is attached to the metal section that is screwed right into the metal part of the engine. The other one, this one right here, completes the circuit, or also called positive, if you want to call it that. And that's connected right into this tab that goes directly down inside the coil pack. Now, you're going to wonder why it's still sitting here. Well, remember I said there was magnets on the flywheel. There was magnets also on the bottom of this coil pack. There's one here, and there's one here. Now these two magnets, this one and this one, stick right onto the flywheel. Kind of a pain to get off sometimes. But the way this works is this flywheel spins at a high rate of speed, and every time these magnets go past the magnets on your coil pack, it generates an electromagnetic field which conducts electricity, or which generates electricity. That electricity from the two magnets running right by each other is then generated and kept in a little pack in here. The reason I call it a coil pack is because there's a bunch of really tiny, tightly wound copper wire in there that actually stores the energy and releases it at a certain voltage or a certain time, and throws it up here to the spark plug and completes the circuit and makes the spark. Well, what you have to do is make sure when you're putting this all back together that there's a certain amount of space in between this magnet and these magnets. Because if they're right together, obviously the engine's not going to move because they're stuck together. And if they're too far apart, the magnetic field is not going to be strong enough to generate the spark to start or run the engine. So what you want to look for when you take the coil pack off is make sure down in here, this area right here, it's not cracked or this wire section here isn't coming out of the actual coil pack. Check right here on the magnets, make sure they're not rusted. If they are, you can take a little fine grit sandpaper and kind of sand them down and get that rust off. If it is up here, you want to make sure that there's a good tight seal in the head of this portion right here that goes into the spark plug and the actual wire. You want to make sure it's not loose, so there's no wires exposed. And then down in there, down in the hole here where you see the aluminum section, I'm sorry, it's not aluminum, it's steel actually, when it actually connects to the spark plug, you want to make sure that's not broken or flopping around in there, make sure it's nice and snug. So the way you can test these is when you put them back on, you can take the spark plug and ground it on the side of the engine, see if it generates a spark. I'll show you how to do that in a later video. But if you're not getting any spark from the engine, this is one of the main things besides replacing the spark plug or looking at the spark plug that you want to check out. because you want to make sure the coil pack is running good and running as it should. This is actually a relatively new coil pack that I had to replace in this engine because this my old one went. It's just junk. I did a bunch of tests in it to see why the engine wasn't starting, and I came to find out that the coil pack was actually junk. So I ordered a new one. I think it was like 30 bucks, and I was able to get it in a couple days, and, and put it on, and the thing started up just fine. So after you've checked it out, make sure that it's good, no rust, this and that. I'm going to show you a little trick here on how you can set your coil pack to your flywheel without using any special tools. And I found that it works just fine. I've been doing it like this for a while, and my engine's really just fine. So next little section of the video, I'm going to show you how to reinstall the coil pack, whether it's one that you kind of fixed up or taken a look at, or reinstall a new one.